Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm filming another meal prep or food prep video, but this one is going to be a fall inspired one. I have lots to do. I have pumpkins that need to be cooked out, pumpkin seeds, pumpkin muffins, lots of different food prep things in today's video, so I hope you guys will really enjoy it. And I am also sharing a grocery haul in today's video, so I'm gonna put that at the beginning of the video. If you don't wanna watch it, I will have this time stamped and you can just skip right to the food prep if you want. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. All right, so here is a week's worth of groceries for us. We do a lot of fresh produce, not a ton of pantry stuff. I am trying to use up what is in our pantry. I think this was around $160 from Walmart. I just did grocery pickup. So starting over here, I'm gonna start with all of our pantry stuff and then I'll move on to like produce and whatnot over there. So I do like to buy our cereal organic now. It's just one of the things that I've noticed ingredients are really bad on cereal. So I've been really liking this organic blueberry clusters. My kids really like this one with cereal or with milk in the morning. And then this one they like to eat just plain. It's the Cascadian Farm Organic Cinnamon Crunch. You will notice I do not buy everything organic, but cereal is one of those things I do prefer to buy that way. I got some jasmine rice. I ordered the big bag. They substituted it for 3 smaller ones. Just got some grated Parmesan. Got some yellow popping corn. I love making homemade popcorn. We really don't do the microwave bags anymore. I love getting nut thins. I've never tried this kind. Normally I just get the lightly salted ones, but I figured my kids would probably really like those. For bread, I just got this brownberry whole grains bread. I actually have been making a lot of our own bread, but I did want to pick some of this up just to make sure and have it on hand for my husband's sandwiches, just in case I don't have time to make any. And then I did get some cornstarch. We were just out of that. And then I got some raisins because oatmeal raisin cookies have been sounding so good lately. I restocked on spaghetti because we recently had a big jug of water spill onto our dry pasta storage. So I wanted to make sure we had lots of spaghetti. I also grabbed this veggie one. We really like this veggie spaghetti a lot. And then I just grabbed 2 boxes of shells. I got the small ones as well as just the regular shells. For canned goods, all I got was just some sliced mushrooms. We love those on pizza. And then I got a can of just diced green chilies for the soup that I'm making this week. I got 2 bags of gold potatoes. I did not order organic, but they gave me organic, so that's nice. Now moving on to all of like fruits and vegetables here. I got a big thing of strawberries, got some baby carrots, green apples. My son has been wanting those lately. Got some bananas. I also grabbed pears, which we haven't had in a while, but I thought they would be good for something different. And one of my friends recently talked about making pear sauce, so I thought I would try that instead of doing homemade applesauce. It sounded good. I also picked up jazz apples. We usually go through a bag of these every single week. I grabbed 2 cucumbers for snacking on and then 2 packages of these peppers. If you have been here for a while, you know that I always get these peppers. My kids love them. We have them with lunches or for snacks with like hummus. They just really, really love them. I got 2 things of yogurt. I got the Greek plain yogurt and then I got the Greek vanilla. The vanilla is for my kids and then this one I can add into like protein shakes or overnight oats, whatever I want it in, or even like topping on soup instead of like sour cream I can use that for. I got 2 packages of butter for baking. I did get the salted one and unsalted. Anytime I'm using it in like frosting, I always want to get unsalted, so I just like to have both on hand. I got a 2-pack of cream cheese. Again, I just like to have this on hand for cooking. It lasts a really long time, so it's just great to have in the fridge. And you can also substitute it in recipes, like if you need something like heavy cream or sour cream, sometimes you can sub that and it just lasts for a long time. I got some whole milk mozzarella. I have recently started shredding our own cheese and I really like it. So I like getting these big blocks of cheese now. So I got a 1-pound block of mozzarella, a 1-pound block of the mild cheddar cheese. I did get some sliced mild cheddar for my husband's sandwiches. And then I did get some pre-shredded Parmesan just to make it nice and easy for myself. Back here I got a bag of broccoli florets. I do have quite a few veggies in my freezer, but I wasn't sure if I had broccoli and I have a recipe that calls for that this week, so I grabbed those. I got some frozen blueberries. I'm trying to be a little bit healthier right now, and this is one of my favorite sweet treats for in the evening. Just frozen blueberries are so good, super sweet, kind of takes the place of like a cold treat for me. And then over here, I've got some salami. This is not necessarily healthy, but my husband really likes salami on his sandwiches. And then if I'm gonna have a sandwich, I really like this one. It's the Applewood smoked turkey breast. The ingredients are a little bit better than what I used to buy, and it tastes really delicious as well. I got 2 packages of eggs. We go through about this amount of eggs every single week. We eat a lot of eggs in this house. 2 gallons of whole milk. Sometimes I will buy 2%, but for the most part, I've just been buying 2 things of whole milk. It works better that way. I got lots of Kleenexes as we're getting into cold and flu season. I got 3 of these smaller ones for bedrooms, and then I got 3 bigger ones for in like the bathroom. Got some Q-tips for in the bathroom, and then some contact solution because we were out of it. And then I just got some lunch bags. These are actually just for crafts, or also if I do need to bring a lunch for my husband during this busy harvest season, I have those available. But that is everything I got for this week of groceries. All right, so to start off today's meal prep, I'm actually going to be getting all of these pumpkins washed, ready to go. We're going to bake them out in the oven and puree them. So these are all pumpkins from our garden. I'm only doing 4 of them today, but I probably at least 10 more left that I need to actually do this with. So I'm going to share with you the process of how I get all of these cooked out, ready to go, perfect for making pumpkin bars, pumpkin cake, pumpkin muffins, all of the pumpkin things this fall season. So I'm just starting off by snapping all of the stems off. I do make sure to wash our pumpkins since they are out of the garden, and then I'm using a really sharp knife to cut them all in half. I have been using these knives for years now. I think I've had the same set for probably like 5 years. We got them for our wedding, and they are so good. They're so sharp and amazing. I will have them linked below. They're the Kyocera brand knives, but they work great for cutting up pumpkins. Just whatever knife you're using, just make sure it's a very sharp one so you don't end up cutting yourself. And then here I'm actually using an ice cream scoop. That's what works best for me. You want a really firm metal spoon for this to scoop all of the seeds out. It works so much better than if you use just like kind of a flat metal spoon. I really like using an ice cream scoop, but I'm just scooping out all of the gunk on the inside and all of the seeds. And I'm actually going to be making pumpkin seeds later, so I'm just going to set those aside and you'll see those later in this video. And then onto my baking sheet, I am going to be using my silicone baking mat. I have mine from Amazon. I can have that linked below as well. It works really well, so you don't have to use aluminum foil or parchment paper. But then I just drizzle my pumpkin with a little bit of olive oil, put them face down on the baking sheet, and these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about an hour. I did have to bake mine a little bit longer just because I had so many pumpkins in there at once. But if you just have one pumpkin, an hour should be perfect. You'll know that the pumpkin is completely done cooking when it's nice and soft. You can stick a fork right through the skin and the pumpkin inside is nice and soft. And then here I'm just going ahead and flipping all of them over, letting all of that steam out and letting them cool off a little bit. I will say you only want to let them cool like this for probably like 10 minutes or so. Otherwise the pumpkin kind of firms back up and it's actually harder to scoop out. That is exactly what happened to me here, just because I was getting kids down for naps. It took a little bit longer for me to get back to doing this. So let them cool for like 10-15 minutes, and then you can scoop that puree either into a bowl, because you can use an immersion blender with it, or you can throw it right into your regular blender and go that route. On this day, I did decide to use my immersion blender, but that's only because my baby was napping and I was not going to chance waking him up with our blender, so I am using my immersion blender. But if you want a really nice smooth puree, I definitely would recommend throwing it in a regular blender. I use the Ninja blender and it works so well. I will link ours down below, which one I use, but whatever blender you have should work just fine. But I just like to get that really nice and pureed. And then I'm just putting it into 2-cup increments here. So I have a couple of freezer Ziplocs, and then I also have a glass container to just put a little bit of pumpkin puree in to keep in the fridge for the next week of baking. For this next recipe, I am sharing my all-time favorite pumpkin muffin recipe. These are so delicious for the fall time, or really any time of year for that matter. But I'm just starting off by adding in all of my wet ingredients. So I've got 2 eggs, 15 ounces of pumpkin, half a cup of melted coconut oil, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. Go ahead and mix all of those together in your KitchenAid, or just with your hand works totally fine too. And then you're gonna add all of your dry ingredients. So 1 3/4 cup flour, a cup of sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of baking soda, half teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves and ground nutmeg. Go ahead and just mix that until it's like just combined. You don't want to overmix this. And then you're gonna put all of this into a muffin tin. I always like to just spray my muffin tin instead of doing paper liners in there. And then you're gonna fill these up pretty much all the way to the top. They don't rise a ton in the oven, so you want them to be pretty full. And then you're gonna bake these in a 375-degree oven for about 20 to 22 minutes. I will have this recipe linked down below, but it is so delicious. If you guys try one recipe from this video, let it be this one. This is a family favorite in our house. They're super delicious. They're very moist, so good. Makes for a perfect snack or breakfast, and you can also freeze these for eating later on too. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to be prepping is some garlic hummus, and this is something that I've been making for quite some time now. All I'm just doing is taking this can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans and draining that off. You do want to reserve that leftover liquid, just set it aside in a bowl. We are going to use that in just a second. And then add a couple cloves of garlic into your blender bowl, and probably about a 1/4 cup of that juice that's left over from the can. And then for seasonings, I like to do 1/8 teaspoon ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, sea salt, and black pepper. And then you're going to want about a tablespoon of lemon juice and a tablespoon of olive oil. And like I said, you're just going to want to add that liquid from the can. You're going to want to start with probably about a 1/4 cup, and you can just add a little bit more if you need to, and it's going to depend on your blender too. I have a very high-speed blender. This is the Ninja blender. I like to use this smoothie cup that twists on the top because it pushes everything down to the bottom. It makes for a really nice, creamy, and thick hummus. But this recipe is so good. I love it so much, and it also doesn't have any tahini in it, so it makes it a little bit cheaper, and it's way cheaper than buying your hummus in the store. And then to go along with that hummus, I'm just slicing up some sweet bell peppers. This is a family favorite. We go through a lot of peppers in this house. I would say we go through probably about 6 peppers a week. I usually will get 2 of the 3 packs from Walmart, and we love them. So I'm just slicing these up really quick, and then I'm also gonna do some cucumbers. We love to eat this hummus with baby carrots or pretzel crisps. Any of those things are so delicious with this hummus. If you guys have never tried making hummus from scratch, I highly recommend it. It's quite a bit cheaper than if you buy it in the store, because I think to get a container of hummus, it's usually $3 to $4, and I can probably make this whole thing of hummus for probably about 70 or 80 cents, which is kind of crazy when you think about how much cheaper it is by just doing it yourself. And this is such a quick and easy snack. Another food that we eat a lot is boiled eggs, and I always like to make mine in the Instant Pot. I'm just adding my little trivet in the bottom here, and then I'm adding about a dozen eggs. A lot of times I do about 18 at a time, and it works totally fine. So I'm just adding those all into the bottom. You can also use a steamer basket for this if you have one, but this little trivet works just fine. And then I'm adding about 1.5 cups of water, and you're just gonna pressure cook these for about 5 minutes. Make sure the valve is closed on top. Once that 5 minutes is up, you're gonna do a 5-minute natural release, and then you'll release the rest of the pressure. After all of that pressure is out, you're going to want to put these right into an ice bath. This makes them so easy to peel. So let them sit for 5 minutes and do that natural release, then just put them into the ice bath, let them sit for another 5 minutes. This is the 5-5-5 method for the Instant Pot, and it works really well. I will have the method linked down below if you want to look at it. If you learn better by reading, I will have it linked down there. After they've sat for 5 minutes, I just take them out, let them dry, and then I will put them into a storage container and put them into the fridge for the week. But this makes for really quick and easy snacks and breakfast. Our kids love these for a quick and easy protein. After I baked out all of those pumpkins, of course I had all of the pumpkin guck from the inside and also all of the seeds, which are super delicious. If you have actually never made baked pumpkin seeds from scratch, they are so good. They're just not the same as the ones that you get in store. They taste so much better. So I am just going ahead and getting the majority of the pumpkin seeds. I did not spend forever getting them all out, but I did get most of them out, and I gave them a really, really good rinse. You want to take any of like those pumpkin bits out. You want them to be really, really clean. And then I'm just adding them into a baking dish here, and I'm going to do a little salt soak on them. So I'm just taking some salt and putting that right over the top. I would say I added probably about 2 to 3 teaspoons here. I don't have an exact amount, and then I'm just adding some water on there too, and these are actually going to get soaked overnight in the fridge. This is how my parents always did it, and it always made them really nice and crispy. So this is actually the next day that I'm going back and taking these out, taking them out of the fridge, putting them into the strainer, draining them off, and I did give them a good rinse, and then I'm putting them onto a towel, and I want to further dry them. You want these to be really, really nice and dry so they bake up to be really nice and crispy. You definitely want crispy pumpkin seeds. You don't want them to be like soggy and gross. They just will not turn out good. So make sure these are nice and dry. After my pumpkin seeds were all dried off, I'm just adding those into a bowl, and then I'm adding on some seasonings and some oil. So I always like to use olive oil, and then for seasonings I like to do a more savory one. So I do garlic powder, paprika, just a little bit of pepper, and then some salt. You can also go for more of the sweet one because you can do like sugar and cinnamon. I've heard of people doing that, but we always like to go for savory. So I'm just lining my baking sheet with my silicone mat here, putting the seeds on there, and then you want them in a nice even layer. And then I bake mine in a 360-degree oven for about half an hour, I would say. You want to bake these until they're nice and crispy. And I like to stir them at like 10-minute intervals. And then once you hit the 20-minute mark, you want to do about every 5 minutes. They should be nice and golden brown when they come out of the oven. Like I said, you want them to be crispy, crunchy, and delicious. I hope you guys will enjoy this recipe. They're definitely one of my favorite fall treats. It's actually pretty healthy and delicious. Alright, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed this style of video where I combined my grocery haul with my food prep for the week, let me know down in the comments below if you want to see more of these. But that is going to wrap up today's video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.